Hello everyone. I hope you're there. Starting the stream right now and waiting for some people to flock into the stream because we're testing more of the Bambu Lab X1 Carbon. Today I'm trying to do a little bit multicolor printing, testing out the AMS, that's the multicolor option on this printer. That was sent to me by Bambu Lab a few weeks ago. I didn't work with this printer for the last 2 weeks. We were on vacation, now I'm back. And I'm happy to do some testing. So, let me know if you are here. And we are gonna kick it off in a few minutes. Yeah, so what you can see here, that's I did some multicolor printing tests, and every time the color change happens, there's going to be some exceed filament here coming out at the back of the printer. That's where it's going to drop the filament that it's extruding just to change the color, and there is an additional wiping tower in when you do the multicolor printing. I'm going to show you in a second what my first test print looks like. So, just checking that everyone can hear me. Let me know if the audio is good, if the stream works, if you can hear me and see me well. Yeah, that looks like poop, yeah. I know. So, gonna close the window. Just give me a second because it's getting loud. It's super hot in here, so I had to open every window, but it's now starting to rain, so. So I am back. Here we go. Yeah, there's a little outlet here. I guess if you're doing a lot of multicolor printing, this could be a little litter tray or something to collect all this crap here. Could be useful. I didn't know how this all works, so I just very naively created a project in Bambu Studio, which is the software that Bambu Lab is currently still developing, and just gave it the multicolor Banshee, and then started to print it. And we're going to have a look at it now, what the result looks like. So let me show you how the multicolor Banshee came out. We need a little bit more light here. So this is what's coming out when you do multicolor printing. It's my first 2-color Banshee. I think I'm going to have a look at that in a second, in a close-up. There's also this wiping tower here. And I was getting in contact with Bambu Studio developers why there is a wiping tower, and on top of that, there's lots of plastic coming out on the back of the printer. So the question surely is, can this whole process be a little bit optimized? So since we have a wiping tower that actually on other printers with multicolors, there is usually a wiping tower to clean the nozzle from the previous color. But here, if you look at this wiping tower, it's super, like the layers are already pretty clean. So there's no clear reason why there needs to be a wiping tower. I think turning it off could be one thing to test out. The other thing is what I also wanted to know from them, but I didn't get a response yet. whether the alternative could be just to use the wiping tower and not have all this excess filament coming out at the back of the printer. But that happens during the filament change, color change. It's extruding, I don't know how much this is, but probably, I don't know, 10 centimeters, 15 centimeters of filament until the color change happens, and that's how it looks like afterwards. Let me check if we can get this in focus. Here we go. So you see, that's the color change. That's what comes out at the back. So every time a color change happens, it creates this little gunk here. Good. So that's the Benchy that came out. So just to show you the result, a little bit of stringing. Otherwise, I think it looks okay. It took about 4.5 hours to print this. Of course, it's taking longer. So I didn't have any expectations on a print time with multicolor prints. So that's, I don't usually print multiple colors. So today I want to test out some multicolor prints. Just a few very small ones so I can do multiple tests. I also want to test out how using 3 colors work. And for that, I was thinking about creating a little bit of a maker coin for the followers of this channel. So we're gonna collect some ideas from you guys, what you think we should be doing in terms of multicolor printing. Don't let me do super crazy long prints because I think that doesn't really make sense in a live stream. But I was thinking about more like creating a little maker coin with the Crosslink logo and something like that, and just go from there. So, if you have any ideas, my first question would actually be, how large is a maker coin usually in diameter? Maybe you have an idea for me how big we should make this. We could also do a flag, yeah. So I'd say I'd rather start with something like a little coin to print this, and then if the coin looks nice, then I would print a few and maybe send out a few to my followers. A panda coin. Why a panda coin? Okay, so let me see how we do this. So I'm gonna pull out Fusion, just logging in. Okay, let me see. The thing with this office here is that it's getting super hot. So here's my code. So the second thing I also tested, and I think I wasn't quite successful last time, I successfully connected the Bambu app. So just want to show it to you a quick second. The app isn't finished yet completely, but that's how it looks currently. So it's essentially there's a start page, and on the start page you have different projects that other people uploaded, and then you have devices. So devices is essentially just a list of your printers, and then you can Yeah, you can have a status. Currently it's idle. You can see the temperatures of the printer, and then you can also watch a live video from the inside of the printer. Hope you can see this. Connect failed. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't. So here we go. This is the live view from the inside of the printer. So you can monitor what's going on. Unfortunately, currently it's not working when the phone isn't in the same network as the printer. So it doesn't work currently from the go. I tried it using a VPN connection, that works. But obviously it's currently, the way how it's done is it needs the network connectivity to the printer. And then you can remotely send a print file to the printer. You can see the print status and things like that. So that works. Okay. Okay, for whatever reason, Fusion doesn't let me update itself, but we're gonna fix it anyways. Okay. $50 millimeters, 25 millimeter coin size. Let me see. 25 millimeters. Yeah, that's like 1 inch, right? So that looks a little bit small, I guess. 39 millimeter for poker chip. That looks, yeah, that's probably a decent size, because otherwise it's very small, and like I think 14 millimeter. Yeah, that sounds like a reasonable size. And you can do a logo, and then you still can see the details of the logo. Cura? What do you mean with Cura? Paul, what's up with Cura? You think we're using Cura for this, or? Yeah, poker chip size sounds like a great idea. Okay, so let's start doing this. And forgive me if I'm not very fast doing this. So instead of Fusion, honestly, I don't know how to do these kind of things in Cura. I just use Cura for slicing, and I never designed anything in Cura or created any objects in Cura, but I started using mostly Fusion 364 designs that I'm doing. So let me see if this works. This is a new file. I'm going to create a little sketch here, and we are making a circle, 39 millimeter, if that is the size. That's the outer diameter. So far, I think that's all we need, and then we can extrude from here. And I would like to make it at least 2-3 millimeter height. Question is, yeah, I think 3 millimeter could be good. So that looks like a decent coin. I mean, we could make it thicker, but then it just takes longer to print, and maybe it's even type. But I'd say 3 millimeter of coin height looks fine to me. What do you think? Next thing I need to do is pulling out my logo. And I'm curious if I can get, I think I don't have the file here. I'm gonna have to look for it, just a second. So let me see. I have my logo. Here we go. Logo, no shadow. Will just take me a second to get the logo downloaded. Okay. Good. So the idea was that I'm going to take Inkscape and create a SVG file from my logo. So import this file. Okay. So that should be the logo file, and now the idea was to object to path. I think that was the effect that I was using last time. Was it stroke to path? I don't remember. Where is it? Missing the pop-up here. Ah, here we go. Was it object to path or stroke to path? Chat, help me out. Okay. Instead of Fusion, choosing the Zero Sketcher, AutoCAD is chamfer the edges. Yeah, we'll do this. We'll do this. I'm just trying to remember how to convert this image into a path. Just the last time I did it was like, I don't know, 2 years ago. And I was thinking that this would be the right thing to do, but nothing happens here. Just not sure 100% how I did this last time. So let me check this out. I selected my object, and then I'm saying object, path menu, object to path. And for whatever reason, nothing happens. Maybe it's already created, and then I have to remove the upper layer. No, that was not working. Let me see. Just trying to figure it out because I did this already, and it doesn't really work for whatever reason. Okay, while I'm trying to figure it out, let's continue chatting. I want to show you how printing the multicolor printing works in general. So Bambu Studio is the application that is currently still under development, and what is nice about this program is it creates these like projects, 3MF files, but if you're starting to print something, it seems to be quite easy to use. So this is how it looks like. Currently, it supports placing something obviously on the build plate. So doing the dual printing means you have to select these two files here. In this case, it's two different STL files. What's nice about that is that it detects that it's an object with multiple parts. Load these files as a single object with multiple parts, and then as soon as you say yes, you will see there is, it looks like one print, but then you can, you see these are the multiple parts of this print. So, and now I can create a multicolor print by selecting multiple filaments. So this is like how I do it. So I'm going to say, okay, I know what filament colors are in the system. The first one is an orange, and the second one was white color. And so that's how I select the colors, and then I can, I think I have to select the different elements of the print and change the color of like any element that I want. So that's how it looks like. That's it basically. So from here I can start the print and slice it and then send it to the printer, right? So that's how easy the multicolor printing works. That's what created this result of the Benchy file. So that's how I created this Benchy. What I don't see yet, or what I didn't see yet, is an option to turn off the wiping tower, because I think, at least since all of these filament rests here tell me that the filament change process of the printer, of the AMS, already creates a clean nozzle. And there is essentially, when, like, for example, changing from orange to white in this case, there is no orange filament visible anymore in this. So I think I don't need the wiping tower in the end, but I'm not sure if I can turn it off. So that's something that's open in terms of a question that I have. Probably finding out later. Friesenrudi has a suggestion, because I was still trying to figure out how to create a path from an image in Inkscape. I was actually, generate. I think I was trying to create this path, and I didn't figure it out yet. What questions do you have, guys? What did you hear about Bambu Lab X1? What are your open questions? I guess this Kickstarter is still running for another week. And probably a few of you are wondering if this is the printer for you. I've seen, I think Uncle Jesse made a video, and he was showing some issues with the printer, or he basically said this printer is also not tinkering free, and I was like, I wasn't really surprised. I think this printer is actually requiring less tinkering than any other printer that I had before, but nevertheless, if something bad happens, and if an error happens on any printer, and that could be the most expensive printer in the world, I guess you have to know what you're doing, or you need someone to come and help you. But tell me your opinion on this, because I think this is probably still the case with all the devices out there. So far, I didn't have any issues with the printer. I mean, I tested the printer with the single color printing, that where I didn't have the AMS installed. I think I made a mistake in the beginning where I wasn't really placing the print bed correctly on the print surface. I wasn't placing it correctly. So that caused one problem in the beginning. After I realized this and I replaced it correctly on the build plate and did the calibration one more time. So far it printed nicely. And but yeah, it could probably in the future, if I print hours and hours and hours, I probably will run into some issues. At least I would be probably pretty blind to think that there will never be any issues with any printer. The glue stick is something that is definitely something. I mean, that's a bit annoying. Like, they claim that they have these print surfaces that they probably will sell as a replacement part. So they have a tape side, so you can replace it. The underside is a metal plate, so you have to get the old one off the metal sheet and then put the fresh one on if you want to replace this. And especially they write in the manual, when this thing is fresh and you never printed on this, you definitely have to put glue stick on. Otherwise, it's gonna probably, the prints are going to stick so good that you might peel this off from with the print. I had this once with BuildTech when I was printing with a fresh sheet of BuildTech on my, oh my goodness, ANIT A8, that I ripped my build sheet apart because I was using a scalpel I was trying to remove some print. It was sticking super well, and I ran my my removal tool. Basically, I ran it into the surface. I scratched it, and then I kind of created a little opening. And like when trying to pull off the print, I completely ripped it apart. So that's what happened back then. I think the same problem here could be if you're not using the glue stick, that you're ripping this thing apart or that it's gonna be destroyed. So this, I mean, anyways, if this is how it looks when it's used. You see there's the glue stick on, and where we have printed the benches, there is already some, I mean, that's probably the rest of glue stick that has kind of gotten hot. But it sticks very well, so it still sticks super nicely. At some point, you probably need to clean this and to have it last longer. But I can imagine that they mentioned to me in some of the emails that we exchanged that they will definitely have another print sheet available at some point that is going to be powder coated something. There's another side here, that's the back side, where it says TPU PC. So that's probably the build, that's anyways the print side for other materials that require higher temperatures. And this is the side where it says, here it says PLA, PTG, ABS, and on this side it says PA, TPU, PC. And that is that's a metal surface that is just painted, or it's, that's essentially just a layer of paint on it. That's how it looks to me. It isn't really kind of textured, it's just very flat and shiny. And if you want to replace this, I guess you have to kind of peel this from the metal sheet and then get a new one on. Sounds good. Sounds too good to be true, this printer. The thing is, every printer has some issues. That's probably the truth, and there's probably going to be printers always that have issues. So also this printer isn't perfect. I mean, it has this nice extension for multicolor printing. It prints very fast. Of course, that sounds great already. To me, when I got it in the beginning, and I saw these 7 minutes for a benchy print times, that was like, okay, this seems like a Varone in the professional package with no tinkering. I would say this is true to some point, but probably it's not perfect. It's probably not perfect. Okay. Rido Kilo says, I have had a lot of trouble with failed first layers when I use glue stick because it won't hold. Not sure if I just know how the trick to application. Yeah, I mean, the trick is probably to get it on very thin, just a very, very thin first layer. This is just a normal glue stick. They gave me this, it comes with the printer, it has a logo, Bambu Lab logo on it, but I guess it's just normal glue stick. Printer hardware is just fine. Most of the trouble is software related. That is true, because when I started using this printer, the software wasn't there yet. And in the meanwhile, I think I got 3 firmware updates, which fixed all kinds of issues. Now it's getting better and better, but still some things aren't working. So like, for example, in the Bambu Studio, I can show you this quickly. There's one thing that I was trying to do. You can log in, essentially, and currently you have to create an account with a Bambu Studio. On the mobile app, you can actually log in with Facebook and Google, and this is, for example, this isn't working in the Windows, in the PC app or computer app. The problem with that is if you're tempted to log in on a mobile phone using your Google account, and then you're trying to log in on a computer here, you cannot synchronize your settings, so I had to switch back to creating an account. I think that's one of the smaller issues. Another issue was that in the beginning it didn't show the remote video stream. Sometimes it's still kind of broken. I say one of 3 times it doesn't start the stream. Another expectation that I have is that this works without a VPN connection. At least that I was hoping for it, but maybe it's also not meant to be a cloud thing. Maybe it's really about local connectivity, and it doesn't go through a third-party cloud service, which is, for some people, that's probably perfectly fine because they don't want cloud services and they don't want this to go through the cloud. But however, I can use VPN. For me, that's good. The price versus features is, well, I mean, it's not, if you think about it, the price on Kickstarter is just a lower price. That's probably a lower margin. If you consider what they have as a real final price, it's not too cheap. I would say, I mean, think about it. If you have the, let's take the Prusa. If you have the Prusa with the multicolor option as a kit, you're going to be somewhere around 1,000 euros, like the kit plus the MMU. If you buy the assembled unit, it's 1,300, and it's not as fast as this printer. So if you get a Voron, you can probably get the Voron printer for, I don't know, 700, 800 as a kit. And then if you would add some kind of a multicolor option to that, probably a few more €100. So I'd say in the ballpark of 1,000, between 1,000 and 2,000 euros for this whole thing is probably okay. It's probably, pricing wise, I would say it's decent. It's not too expensive, it's not too cheap, but of course it's not something like a $200 unit. But that's just my 5 cents. I mean, on the other side, I've seen printers like the Adventurer 4, and I'm nothing against FlashForge because their printers are, in general, I would say they are good. But I had the FlashForge 4 on my channel, if you remember. I tested it. I made a video about it. I also had the FlashForge 3 on my channel. I also made a video about that. And these two printers are like, the one is like 300-400, it depends where you get it. And the other one is, I think, 800. And that is 800 for a FlashForge Adventurer 4. Even if you wouldn't know about this printer, if this wouldn't exist, so many people were telling me that 800 euro for the FlashForge Adventurer 4 is way too much money, right? And that might be perfectly right, because it's not a very special printer. It doesn't print very fast. It doesn't have any exciting features, to be honest, except that it's an enclosed printer, but it's not very fast. It's pretty loud. I don't know. It's just a normal 3D printer. It probably is easier to use, but like compared, like that's what I'm saying here. There's like 800 for a FlashForge 4. That's compared to that sounds like overpriced, even if this wouldn't exist. But just why I think this is okay. Okay. Let me start one more try to figure out how to convert my image. Match to path. can't be too complicated. I have used this function already. So let's try this one more time. Here we go. I guess this is what I was looking for. So I'm still trying to create my, to convert my logo into an SVG file because I want to use it to emboss this maker coin to print it in multiple colors. So there is a function that's called trace bitmap. Trace bitmap. And what I want to do is edge detection. And let's update. How does it look like? I mean, that looks quite accurate. And now I actually remember how this works. So now I can just remove the original image. And now we're left with just with the edges of this logo. That's what I want. And now I can save it as an SVG file. That's what I'm looking for. Now we have our little coin here, and we can insert a SVG to this. I think we can get it from the desktop. And then we select a surface where we want to place this. But I have no, oh, it is super large. Way too big, so I'll probably have to rescale this. Make it smaller, and now I can place it here in the middle, hopefully hitting the middle somehow. Okay, so this is, I think we can make it a bit larger, just a tiny bit. So that is the shape for the maker coin. So it's very simple. Like nothing complex. So now I think we can finish the sketch. What I want to do now is I want to create 2 independent extrusions so I can actually use 3 different colors. So I will do 1 extrusion here. I think I'm gonna, yeah. I think I will extrude into a new body. We'll have, I don't know, this thing is 3 millimeters high, so probably it is fine to go for, I don't know, 1 millimeter. New body. And then we have the second, oh, I think I have to, why did it, oh, it deselected my sketch. Okay. No, I mean, it was fine, but it did disable my sketch. So I'm going to extrude the second one. Also another millimeters. New body. So we should have 3 pieces now. We have the coin, we have part 1 of the logos. Let's say this is the coin base. And this is, I don't know, logo part 1. And this is logo part 2. And we can save this, I don't know, stuff. No idea where I want to save this. No, new folder, no. Let's put it in the root folder. Why are you not letting me doing this project? Oh, maybe I have to save it as, I don't care. I'm going to save it as Crosslink coin. So we have this thing. We can now export it as a we can, yeah, we can create a mesh. Save as mesh, and then we can say 3MF. Actually, I think we can just save it as this, so we'll have 3 different parts. I hope that this is going to work. Going back to Bambu Studio. No, I don't want to save it. We can import this file now. Loading geometry data only. Why is it not compatible? It has 3 parts. What happens if we replace, I don't know, we can repair it maybe? I'm curious. For whatever reason, I cannot change the color of one of these pieces. What I can do instead is to export it piece by piece as individual files. We can also use STL. That works better. Let's do this. Coin logo 1. And let's see how this works, if this works better. So we have 3 pieces now. Let's select them all. I didn't select the 3MF. Did I? Did I make a mistake here? I didn't want to... Oh. I think I still have to... Can I clean the build plate? Outside. Delete. Plate 1 outside. Why is it outside? Okay, let's try. Let's try one more time. I think I selected 3MF. Here we go. I selected 3MF. Look, load these files as a single object with multiple parts. Yes. Okay, that's what I wanted. This looks better now. So we have Coinbase, logo 1, logo 2. What we can do is we can hopefully change the color of these pieces now. Let's say this is the white color. Can I please, why can I not change the colors? So with the Ron says he's scared to back the project. So I'm coming back to you. Don't want to bore you with this, but I was thinking about creating this coin just as an experiment and to figure out if I can just simply create a multicolor print, and then let's hit it. So if you're scared to back this project, it is, yeah, honestly, I've talked about this in the last stream. I backed multiple Kickstarter projects, and I lost some money on the, I think it was the Polysmoother. Probably some people remember this project. That was a tool, basically it was just a heated bucket with a lid where you could pour in some, I don't know, acetone, and then it would smoothen some, like any print. That could be smooth with acetone or alcohol or something that gets basically heated up in that bucket, and then that project failed in terms of they collected the money and then the money was lost because they kind of ran away with the money, never shipped the product. Later the product showed up on AliExpress, looked the very same, so that was kind of a revelation. Then the next product that kind of failed on me was the Creality 3D scanner, if you remember this project. I think it was started a few months ago, and then how was it called? I don't know. I don't remember actually. There was this Creality 3D scanner, the small one. And that 3D scanner was stopped, basically the Kickstarter, when all the money was collected, the Kickstarter was stopped by Kickstarter, so they got a copyright claim, and that the software developers kind of ripped the software from where they worked before, and then they had to stop the Kickstarter. Then everyone was thinking, oh, the money is lost. This 3D scanner, Scan Lizard it was called, will never get shipped. Probably the money is lost. Somehow, Creality managed to refund everyone. I got my money back actually, but I didn't really believe that this would actually work out. And I don't know how this works now. They refunded everyone, and now they sent an email to every backer that if you pay the money again, they're gonna ship you this 3D scanner directly, without not through Kickstarter. So I'm wondering if they got the copyright claim resolved or what happened. But yeah, I would say I almost lost my money on that. Everybody was probably thinking the same, and now at least I have my money back, but I didn't do the funding. I didn't pay for it one more time, because meanwhile the Revo point, you can see it here, the Revo point POP2 popped up and I'm gonna test that out. So that's probably something for another video. Good. Bambu Lab published a few videos recently, just referring to McTasman. So there is, at least I think we could say there is some proof that they have already built printers, that they are producing them, they are able to do this. But the thing is, yeah, there's always a kind of a risk left, but nevertheless, let's see. I think we have 5 days or 4 days left for the Kickstarter, and then hopefully everyone will get their printers. Let's get back to the slicing process. I'm just if you have looked at what I did in the beginning, I just imported the Banshee, and I was able to select different colors, because I have 2 different colors here, right? I have orange and white. Now, for whatever reason, I am not able to change the colors. So probably what I'm going to do is just to shut down the software, just to make sure that I'm not running into some weird bug. That is absolutely possible that there is a bug here. So, new project. Let's place our coin. Yes, I want to load this as a single object with multiple parts. I will add another color. Let's say the first one is orange. Second one is white. That is what I have in the AMS. Interesting enough, that's one thing that I wanted to tell you, which was kind of surprising. When you load Filament into this unit, and you're using their original spools that come with the printer, they somehow have a way to detect the color and the material. And probably what Bambu Lab is doing, they have probably some kind of, I don't know, probably they have some NFC chip in the spool, and the unit exactly knows, I don't know if you can see it, but after loading the filament, the unit actually even knows the color, right? So this is showing orange. Don't know if you can see it here. This is showing orange. This is white. So I didn't select this manually. So this just kind of detected, probably by using some kind of barcode or NFC in this spool, what color this is. If you're using third-party spools, you can just go and select the color and the material type. So that works, of course, but just an interesting detail. I mean, this looks like they're not just going for hey, we're gonna produce this printer and that's it. I think they're gonna also produce filament, because if you're doing these kind of features that for color detection through the spool, whatever that is, I didn't figure it out yet. It's probably just a little bit, it's more like an ecosystem that they are probably thinking of. Yeah, RFID, probably. But it's nice. I mean, it's a nice detail. This is something that looks production ready. It's not like looking like something that has been somehow fixed together in a workshop, and then it's pretty nice. There's some good ideas here. And as I said, there's filament runout detection and stuff like that. So back to this project that I wanted to do. So I have imported my little coin. I wanted to change color, but I am not able to do this. Why am I too stupid here? I mean, we have a three-part. Let's try something else. Let's try something else. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to import this. What I had before. 3D models, Thingiverse, Benchy, files, dual print. Yes. Okay. Why does it work with the Benchy? Okay, let's give it another try. Maybe I'm just too stupid. So let's go back to our example here. Open. Yes. Oh, maybe I was just too fast. Okay, you need to click it once and then a second time. For whatever reason. Okay. So, but I wanted to have, I just wanted to the exact other way around. So I wanted to have it in orange. And I wanted to have the coin base in white. What we can also try now is to use a third color. You know, the Crosslink logo, it's actually 3 different colors. It's red, orange, and I mean, the background is basically random. So you can use, I'm using white background, black background. So let's try to add a third color, just to see how this works. And this time I'm using a completely third-party spool. It's from Das Filament Red PLA. Just one thing. I want to cut off the beginning of the filament a bit, but do I have some clipper here? Over-dimensioned clipper, but it works. Okay, so what I figured when I inserted the filament for the first time, as soon as you push a new filament in this unit, there is some kind of auto-loading mechanism. So you just push it in, and now it starts to, I think it's trying to figure out where's the beginning of this filament and start loading it. Right? It's all happening automatically. So I think it was just trying to figure out where's the beginning. Now it's pushing it back. This is loaded now. But of course it doesn't know which color it is. So I think what we need to do in the printer menu, or what we should do probably, is to select what kind of filament is this. So IMS. So here's here PLA, auto-detected. What is this? Something that we can, yeah, I know, I want to change it. Can I change it? Here we go. Filament manufacturer, generic, because Das Filament doesn't exist in the list. PLA, color is red. Sounds good. Okay. So we have 3 colors in now. sounds good. Now back to the software, back into Bambu Studio. I'm adding a third color here, and I will select red. I mean, this is just for visualization. It doesn't really matter, but it's like Bambu generic PLA. I wish there was kind of a synchronization between. I think this is coming. I don't know what this actually does. Previously, the AMS menu wouldn't remember the user added color. Yeah, let's see. I mean, I don't know if this works or not, or what I need to do. What flushing volumes does? Oh, flushing volumes. I think this is the amount of filament that the unit should. Okay, we can set a value here. So we can say, this is probably a way how to reduce the waste. So I've shown you this. This is the plastic waste from printing this benchy, right? So this looks a little bit ridiculous, knowing that there's another wiping tower also. So this is all like the, the wasted plastic for this little benchy here. But you can, I didn't see this, probably is a new function. So you can set how much flushing, how much filament is going to be extruded after the retraction and the reinsertion of the filament, and how much do we actually want to purge when changing from color A to color B. Interesting enough, you can set this for any kind of combination. So that probably makes sense if you're changing from, let's say you're changing from brown to black, you don't probably need to do that much. But if you're changing from black to white, you probably need more, right? So what I've seen here is that we can probably reduce this to halfway, like 140, like for everything. I think it's way too much. I just want to have less waste. It's just too much. But anyways, I think it's nice that you can change this and you can probably give every direction of color change when, like, it totally makes sense to have more extracted when you change from a very light color to a dark color, the other way around, from a very dark color to a light color, you need more, and the other way around is probably not that much. But anyways, good to have this. So logo 1, the left one is red, and okay, so this should be about right in terms of my logo. Kind of accurate. So, theory, it will be open source, so we can program our own RFID chips. Maybe, that would be nice. I think that's probably something that I would be looking forward to. Good. Another bug squished. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of bugs. In the menu, there was buttons that didn't work. So it looks like they're making some progress. So I have confidence. Like I said this multiple times in other videos, like the worst thing about printers, especially the cheap ones, is not the hardware. Like if you look at the hardware of like these Ender clones, all the Ender clones, the hardware, and there might be slight differences in the hardware, I admit. But the thing is, most of the time they are really just clones. They use the same kind of extrusion, Bowden setup, for example. But the software makes the difference. The software is really the key, and it's very expensive. Like software is super expensive because you need people who do the development of the software, who create a nice user menu, who take care of all kinds of bugs. And with the software, you can actually make a device so much better over time. But the reality is that a lot of manufacturers just ship something once and then never come back and improve it through the software. And I've seen good examples where companies have improved products over years. Like just one example, Fuji. If you have a Fuji camera, the Fuji X-T3 is still getting updates, still getting feature improvements. That's a, I don't know, 3-year-old camera, and they still ship software that improves the functionality of the camera. They don't have to do that, right? But they are doing it. So this is like, you can do so much with software. It's just crazy. I imagine people will come up with a test sprint to help calibrate the purge amounts. I totally agree. I think this is something that makes sense, but like just logically thinking, I think I believe that just knowing that I mean this grid is really useful, because you can like say, okay, this is white. When I go from white to red, probably I don't need to that much. Like if I go from white to red, I don't need that much, but if I go from red to white, probably I want to have more. So just approaching this from a logical point of view is probably super simple. But anyways, we're going to try this. Good. Let's I would say from here, let's try to print this mega coin. It is going to do, how much time will it take? 13 minutes, total 20 minutes. I guess we can wait this. We can wait for this. Print. We also don't have to do all these calibrations. The thing is, you can enable like all these like bed leveling, flow calibration, vibration calibration, first layer inspection. You can do this every single time. Doesn't really make sense, right? So one thing left to do for me is to clean the old, like the print surface from the previous print, and just remove this calibration stuff here. And one thing about the calibration, it's just a few strings of filament here in the front of the build plate, but that's taking a little bit of space. So if you're printing something that takes the whole print area, it probably makes sense to do this as a separate print and then have some kind of test print with a calibration, and then do the actual big print in a second run. So you can actually use also this part of the print area, because that's going to be covered with these little test strings. That I think the camera is making some pictures. That there is a little camera in the print head and a LiDAR sensor, and that like looks at these kind of strings and these lines and says, okay, is this a perfect distance? Is this extrusion right? And then it starts the actual print after that. But as I said, it takes a little bit of space on your print plate, and it makes sense to. Doesn't make sense to do this every single time. So let's insert the print bed again. Here we go. Actually, last time I completely forgot about this. And just started printing without the print surface. And then I think someone in the comments of that video said, I don't know, something like, this person is too stupid to use this printer. You're just so stupid. But I have to admit that I wanted to test from a perspective of a person that has no idea of 3D printing or has just little knowledge. And I mean, of course, I don't know this printer. Like, I don't know all the details yet. So I'm just trying it out. Good. Coming back to the software. We should be ready to start this print. I'm not doing all these calibrations. I've done them already in the previous print. And we can now start the print job. So, as soon as this is done, it should actually appear on the printer. And this is the, okay, here we see the monitoring and progress screen. Okay, the heat bed, hot bed is preheating. You see the temperatures here, and we can also try to look into the printer chamber. So that's how it looks like. Currently starting the print. I will leave this open because then we can have a look with the camera. We can just check it out. I'm gonna bring the camera a little bit better into a position where you can see it printing from the side. Okay, so it was just starting. I think it's gonna start with the white filament now. It's just like retracted the orange one, and it's probably now going to insert the white one. What you cannot see at the moment that it's currently purging, and there's probably gonna come some purging filament out here. And I'm wondering, like, let's remove all this stuff from the previous one. And let's just have a look if this is actually smaller now. Here we go. Whoa, it's still hot. So this looks smaller. Yeah. Why is the camera not showing this? I don't know. What's going on? Come on, show it to me. Here we go. So this little rest of filament, it's a little bit less than the first one, like in the first try. I set it to 140 instead of 280. It's less, but still creates these little chunks here. On this side, what we're seeing now is that it's starting to heat up, and it's probably going to start printing in a second. So what I'm currently doing, I'm bringing the camera down a bit, even more, because it is still too high. It's just taking me a second to do this. Here we go. Okay. Probably going to start to print in a few seconds. Oh yeah, good question. What about the silent mode? Last time when I still had the first firmware, like the very first firmware version in my first video that you've seen on this channel, I was using the initial firmware, and there was no way to change the print speed. So it was always printing with kind of the default print speed that comes from the slicer software. So in the slicer software, you can set all kinds of things about the print speed. So the printer itself has a speed setting to set the print speed, and I couldn't change it. So it has no effect. Currently, it's probably a good question to test this. We should probably try this out. Good one. So that looks like the first part of the wiping tower. I didn't change any settings about the wiping tower, so it's probably going to be the same as before. I'm trying to figure out in the meanwhile if there's any setting that changes the amount of wiping. What was the vibration for in the beginning? 5 seconds. Yeah, the vibrating is done. There's a motion sensor, or there's an acceleration sensor in the printhead. And that acceleration sensor is measuring how much the printer is vibrating when the printer is vibrating. So there's going to be some vibration compensation through the firmware to compensate for the amount of vibration the printer generates while doing a certain kind of movement and a certain acceleration. So that's Clipper has, if you know about the firmware Clipper, this firmware does support this. So Clipper supports vibration compensation, and you need an accelerometer in your 3D printhead. And that's what happens in the beginning. Yeah, this is the second layer now. Obviously much faster. And this is like layer 3, it's probably even faster. I think it's taking two layers to speed up to the maximum speed. So what else? So we can actually disable the priming tower. I've just found the setting, so I'm wondering if this is really necessary. So, question was, is this normal speed or is it fast speed? Can we change it? I think we cannot change it mid speed. Well, the noise the printer makes it's higher noise because it's more noise because I have the door open for filming this. When I close the door, it's definitely quieter, but it's not super quiet. Like, it's still making some noise. So now we are kind of out of focus now. Why? Here we go. It's definitely not the most silent printer, but it's not super loud. I mean, like, if you put this in an office and you run it at normal speed, it's probably just bearable. No one's gonna really notice this unless you're really close to the printer. If you put it in a corner, it's okay. It's slowed down because of the top layer. And again, you are not hearing the noise of the printer because only thing that this is my microphone currently. That's what you're hearing. I can give you another microphone, but I mean, what do you want to compare it with? Because it's just like I'm sitting here with my microphone. If I get closer to the printer, it's probably getting louder. But it's really hard to say. For you, it's not gonna be not gonna be able to tell how loud it is. But I can tell you that I'm speaking normally to you now. I'm not screaming at you, and I'm sitting like an arm length away from this printer. Right? That's how loud it is. That's probably a better way to tell. Okay, let's check it out. It's printing the top layer of the white part of the coin. And I guess now is the time where we will see the filament color change. So now it starts to purge. It's going to switch to red, I guess. So it's retracting the filament. Filament spool is winding backwards. Let's see this. I'll try to show it to you. So you see it's loading, the orange filament is currently loading. And now it should be purging, don't know if you can see this here. I think you couldn't see it actually. It was too dark there. It's now printing in orange. And now it's changing to a red color. And my camera has some issues focusing, or whatever reason. Let me bring it up a bit. So what is happening with you? What are you doing? Okay. So you see there's a little bit of orange already printed. Now it's changing to red because we have two colors in the same layer. That's why it takes longer. I think in the background you can tell that there is filament purging, and now it's going to print next color. And this is the red color. And we're changing back to orange now. And why it's coming always to the front corner, I have no idea, actually. Now it's purging again. If it breaks down, someone flies in for repair, right? I have no idea. Probably not. I hope that they are going to create some service network in Europe, or I mean in the US. Probably they will have some partners. I don't know about Europe. I hope that they're going to select some partners in Europe and over the world where they will have some repair centers. I think those details aren't clarified yet. There's probably going to be some resellers also in different countries. Is it comparable to the Prusa XL? Well, hard to tell, because the Prusa XL has exchangeable print heads, right? You can, I think, have maximum of 5 different print heads with probably different colors. This is one print head with the option of having 4 different, was it 4? Yeah, 4 different colors in here. And it's more like the Prusa MMU, where like filament is like exchanged and then pushed back. I think it's very similar actually. And so here you see my logo coming up. It's already visible. And yeah, it's more like the MMU. The Prusa XL is, I think, it's a totally different beast. It has a completely different idea behind that. There you can print multiple heads with different extruder types. You can upgrade it like crazy. Probably it's super expensive. I think it's a different league one more time than this printer. This printer is definitely good, but the Prusa XL is probably like the, I don't know, the Mercedes-Benz of multicolor printing. And we have more stuff coming out here, so there's filament change happening. I'm using 140 for the purge length. It's half the setting that is default. So the default setting was 280, I think, what was it, millimeters? I don't know. I think it's, what is it? It is cubic millimeters. So the purge length is defined in cubic millimeters, and I set it to 140, right? Okay. Yeah, one thing that I saw, which was interesting, the filament is actually not just purged, it's also cut. There seems to be some kind of knife in there that cuts the filament off when it's changing the filament. Yeah, and Ryan is right, it's purge volume, it's cubic millimeters that you set in the slicer program. Here you see, one more time, this is the flushing volumes. So it's not flushing length, but it's flushing volumes. And it's like 140 now, that's my setting. It was 280 by default. But I set it to the half the length, and probably still plenty. Just looking at these chunks here that are coming out, I can probably set it a little bit lower. Actually, there's also this purging tower. I mean, you can also go in the software and say the prime tower. It is currently enabled, and you can probably make it smaller, or set the flushing volume even lower, and then like use the prime tower instead. I think there's room for optimization, not to waste so much material. I mean, this is overkill. Like, this is the default setting, and this is the benchy that comes out. And I think then we kind of probably set this to much lower values. I'm gonna give some feedback to Bambu Lab to like maybe have lower default values, just to, I mean, this is just super wasteful. Good. Let me see. It's done. Okay. The coin is done, and it looks really nice. So let's get it out. My first multicolor maker coin is done. Here we go. Oh, this looks pretty clean, I guess. So let's take it to the main cam. So, the first maker coin ever on this channel. Not my face. Oh my god, this is the thing with face detecting cameras. Always trying to focus on my face. Here we go. I think that looks pretty nice. So, yeah, I think we can, like the look and feel of this maker coin, I would say there's room for improvement. Maybe I want to have a little border around here, like white, still in the white color, and maybe just a little bit thinner. I could also imagine to make this a double-sided maker coin. I don't remember, does anyone of you guys have maker coins, and are they dual color on both sides, or how do they look like? Just interested to hear from you. Yeah, if the purge has the good tower, that's what I was saying. I think the purge is actually enough. So every time I looked at the purges, there's no filament in the other color left. So every time, like if you look at the ends of this purging blob, it is perfectly fine. So there's no other filament mixed in anymore. So I guess we could probably just skip the purge tower and fiddle around an ideal setting for the flushing volumes to make this less wasteful. What is a maker coin? I think, like from what from my definition of the maker coin is, you're going to something like the Midwest Rap Festival that is currently, I think it is over already, but there are these like festivals where people go to and like present their printers and just have fun together, and everyone who is like proud of his printer or his creations is making these maker coins, and then you go to the booth of that person and they're gonna give you a maker coin just like a sticker. Basically, just it's the equivalent of companies giving out stickers, swag to people coming to their booth at a trade fair, and I think that is the purpose of the maker coin. That's my personal take of it, right? So help me out if you think different. But yeah, next step that I'm going to do, probably gonna create more of these maker coins and sending them out to some of the followers in one of the next streams. So I'm gonna create a bunch of those and make the design maybe a little bit nicer. I think it's a little bit too thick for my taste. I would make it thinner and then have the design a little bit advanced, so to say. Not backed by Bitcoin, no. Printed as a business card, needs your number. I mean, with this kind of design approach, you can probably create business cards. I mean, what you can also do, instead of having an elevated piece here, which is like currently the color, the colored part is elevated above the actual coin, the base. You can also have an inset, like so to have the color inside of the white part. The problem with that is that it is printing much slower because it has to change color probably in every single layer. That way you could have a dual-sided, but if it's something that like a text, then you have to mirror it anyways. So it's going to be like dual-sided, but if it's inside, so if it's layered inside of the white part, it has to do 3 color changes or like 2 color changes for every layer. It's gonna take longer to print, I guess, and maybe it's not that clean anymore. But you can design this stuff as you want, like making door signs or something like that. So we can also make a QR code, maybe. That's actually nice if we would have a maker coin with the logo on one side and QR code on the other side, maybe embedded into the coin. Nice idea. Let's try that. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a few iterations of this, creating some test prints. And then maybe I think the QR code, I like the idea to have the QR code on this side and then pointing to the channel as an internet URL, so you can scan it with your phone. That's actually a nice idea. The maker coin was originally created as a quick, simple way to test 3D printing filaments. I didn't know about that. I think nowadays it's kind of a like a card, a business card that you give out when you meet other creators, right? Yeah. Okay. You're a dwarf grinder. I'm not. This comment is hidden because it contains blocked words like he's a genius. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Now, thank you for the ideas. Est Huguenet is asking about any update on the PC case. Maybe let's talk about that for a bit. The PC case. PC case. I was on vacation for a while. If you remember, I've shown this case on the channel in the video. I didn't yet make any huge changes to the case yet. I have some ideas. Some people gave me some advice. I think there's some good ideas around now. First one is filter grid for the bottom piece. So we can have a removable dust filter. I don't want to use a paper or a filter like from a vacuum cleaner, but more like a little mesh. Some computer cases have these like fine meshes behind the fans. That's going to filter out a lot of dust. So I think the idea is great. I will probably try out some kind of holder for this. So you can just like place it probably from the inside, and then you can have this dust filter here and then clean it with a vacuum when it's kind of full of dust. The other idea was, or thing I have to change, now this opening here for the I/O slot, the I/O panel, that's a standard I/O panel, except that it's not as high as the normal I/O panel. So it's actually the inner part here, the original panel from this main board is, I think, about 1 centimeter higher. It's just behind this part of the case. There is now the request coming in that we should be able to use any kind of I/O panel, even those ones that have connectors to the very bottom, and then also these I/O panels are glued to the main board, so they are flat and they are like completely flush. There's no parts elevating above this surface here. Default I/O panels that you probably know from mainboards that are separated from the mainboard, and then you insert into the computer case first before you insert the mainboard. They have a border around it that clicks into the computer case, and these borders won't work with this case. Currently it's not working with this case. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this thing here, the outlet here, the opening, so it fits every kind of default mainboard slot panel, and that you can like put it in first and then you can put in the mainboard. So it's going to be compatible with cheaper mainboards. The thing also is that the mainboards that have the unglued panel are more expensive, way more expensive than cheaper mainboards that don't have this glued on. So it seems to be like only the expensive mainboards have this kind of panel, which is the flat one. And yeah, that's another reason why. And it's super hard currently to get any kind of mainboard, honestly. These kind of mainboards are super hard to buy. They're just not deliverable. And that's also the reason why I need to make it compatible with the default mainboards that have these separated I/O panel. This is what is the mainboard? It's an it's the B660i Aorus Pro DDR4. And that's currently, I think it goes for, I think it's 200 euros. And there is obviously cheaper ones, but that have the other I/O panel. So it is it Acerrock? Aorus is the brand. So yeah, there are a few changes I have to do. A few changes. I also want to make it a little higher for that, because if you see this, if I will have to make this opening actually go lower up until here, and here's like the border where this outer shell is already connecting to the bottom. If I'm going to make this remove another centimeter of the shell, I'm worried about the stability. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the hole height. I'm going to push the mainboard up by the exact amount, and I'm going to remove here. So the mainboard is going to come up by a centimeter. So the opening is going to shift up a little bit, and so I still have a little bit of border here. It's also better for the stability. What I saw when the border was really thin, I had already a version of that. Then it started to, like after printing, it started to bend out, right? This started to, like, just because of the temperature change after printing or while printing, it wasn't that, like, in terms of, it was like kind of bending out just a tiny bit. So this is important to have a little bit of like a margin here for the overall roundness of the case so that it stays completely circular. But that's like, I mean, don't ask me. I mean, I think I printed 20 prototypes of this. Like we had like 20 prototype iterations of. I had so much printed waste. Good thing is that I have a company that takes all this stuff and then recycles that. And they are sending me shipping labels for free. I can pack everything into a huge box and then send it off to them so they're gonna get recycled filament back. That's super nice because that way I don't have to worry about sustainability and environmental responsibility, as we say nowadays, doing all of this, because that is, of course, otherwise it would be a super crazy waste of plastic. But I know, okay, I can do prototyping. Still wasting some money, obviously, but I'm kind of responsible in terms of that I'm recycling. I get it recycled. Good. How comes that there isn't a basket or something to catch the filament? Well, I mean, the good thing here is that you can attach stuff to these screws here. Like these two screws, for example, if you're using them, if you're only using one color, you can attach the single color filament holder here. Very simple thing, but it works. The thing is, you can remove maybe one of the screws here and maybe one of these screws here. That's probably risk-free. And then create a 3D printed basket. Pimping this printer is probably something that people will absolutely do when they get the printer. I'm gonna watch out for Thingiverse and Prusa printers or printables. I think people will absolutely create add-on parts. I mean, another thing is that this whole unit here is like it's not fixed to the printer, right? So it's just sitting on top. So I can imagine that it makes sense to have some clamps here or some kind of security braces to make sure that this doesn't fall off the printer when you pick it up and move it. And the other thing that also is like, I mean, I would, like from a filming perspective or looking into the printer, I would be happy to have a way to look into the printer still, because this is a glass plate. So maybe I want to elevate this up a little, just a tiny bit, so I can look into the printer from the top a bit better. I think there's going to be some ideas. Yeah. Oh yeah, I will probably create a cupboard basket for sure. Those perch blobs are going to become toys for my cat. I have 2 cats. I can imagine that if I let this here on the table, then they're gonna come and spread it all over the bottom, all over the floor. Yeah. Uncle Jesse got you worried. Yeah, I mean, totally. I mean, this is like, the thing is, this isn't perfect, right? I mean, it looks like it printed today. We printed one thing. We printed this maker coin. It worked. In the meanwhile, I printed this little dual color benchy. I printed in the first stream. I printed this one. It came out nicely. So the thing is, I think as far as I can tell, it works. But the thing is obviously not the hardware. The hardware is super crazy. I mean, the hardware is like, it has all the things. Like, it has all the features, more than you can imagine. Yeah, the software is like, the challenge is going to be like to make the software perfect, really to really get all the bugs out, to make the user interface as easy as possible, to add more feature. There's things that I would wish that this thing had, like remote connectivity, as I said. Maybe the user interface of the Windows application just a tiny bit easier. Synchronization of, I mean, this is just a very simple example. These 3 colors here is something that I had to set manually, although I know the printer knows the colors, right? So the printer knows. Here we go. So the printer knows that it has these 3 colors, right? So because I've done the settings and it's also auto-detecting the stock filament, like the Bambu filament is auto-detected. So for example, these 3 colors, of course, I want that the Bambu Lab software, the Bambu Studio, knows exactly the colors and the types of filaments that I have in my printer, right? Currently, I have to do this manually. I can delete those, and if I add new colors, it's default, right? I have to set the color one more time, right? Stuff like that. I mean, these are little details, but these are the details that are going to make this a perfect thing, not just good enough, right? So this is like the thing that should be added. And maybe some of the default settings are too conservative, like the flushing volume, stuff like that too. It's these little things that I can figure it out, right? But if you have no idea about all these little details and you're not super experienced and you're like disappointed, and you don't want to fiddle around with the stuff, then of course, then it's not a good experience. So it should be like you go and use this printer with almost 0 experience. You're basically an office guy. Say, hey, I have an office, I want to do some 3D printing. We want to do some prototyping, but our main job is not 3D printer tinkering and fixing and maintenance. Our job is to design and create products. So that's where I see this device, and that's where it should be, right? It shouldn't be for me. So I'm the worst person for this printer as a and I know that a lot of you guys are probably you love 3D printers, you love tinkering, you know a lot of details, you probably know more than me. But the reality is that I think that I can make an Ender 3v2, as you've seen. I can make it a perfect device for myself. It works flawlessly. It prints super fast. It has a good software. But I'm not. I'm not the person that's targeted with this printer, right? I like this printer, but I should be a stupid guy that has no idea about 3D printing, and that should be the person that say, okay, I buy this printer for a specific reason, and because I want to do 3D printing and don't want to care. So I'm not sure if we are there yet. Okay, enough of the rant. Did you hear that they are giving backers a 0.6 second and a 0.8 nozzle? I didn't hear that, honestly. I didn't look at the campaign, right? Because I was on vacation for 2 weeks and I came back to yesterday, actually, and I had no time to look at the campaign. But if you have more information, and hit it, push it out here. I think having different nozzle diameters is a great option because this printer is already super fast, and I guess when you are printing with 0.6 or 0.8 on this printer, you can go even faster. That's great. Yeah, the problem is when it breaks down and you're a newbie, and that's where like the ecosystem has to be there, right? If I buy a Prusa printer today or an Ultimaker, if I have a lot of money, let's say I'm buying an Ultimaker, I pay 3,500 euros for a printer that's smaller than this one. And what I'm getting is I'm paying for it. I'm not paying 3,500 for the hardware, because that's definitely not worth 3,500 bucks. But I'm getting a support network. There's companies like I know that there's a company next here that does these supports Ultimaker. So it's like you're getting this printer because you want the support, and there is a network, right? There's companies supporting this. And I am wondering how they're going to pull this off with this printer. When they claim this is for halfway professional use, if they are going to create a partner network, support partners, and if they will support it that way. Because it doesn't make sense to have a company in China supporting this in China. It makes more sense to have a network of partners supporting this worldwide. And I mean, I could even imagine becoming a partner here in the local area and starting to support this printer, right? So this is the point. Like, if they have a good model for that, and they say, hey, we're going to have a partner network, and we have a good partner agreement, and we are going to support our partners with spare parts and replacement printers and software, and a third level or second level support where the partner can get support if the partner doesn't know anymore what to do. I can imagine that this will work, but building a partner network, believe it or not, and it sounds like you just have to hire a bunch of partners and find and incentivize. But I worked at big companies that built partner networks. I worked at Microsoft, and I'm working for AWS, and building the partner network is a huge effort, and it takes time. It takes time, and there is not only good partners, so you have to find the right partners, you have to educate the partners, you have to pay them or incentivize them in the right way, that they are not doing the wrong thing for the wrong reasons. So this is going to take, I would say it's going to take a year or two to really have this set up in a proper way. So let's see. I'm curious. I can imagine in the US, it's gonna if you know something about the United States, if they are already starting there, it's probably the obvious thing to do for them. This is probably one of the biggest markets. But I'm in Germany, so we are like a very tech-focused country. We have a lot of companies doing. There's just a company doing 3D printers right around the corner here. So we have I think we have the right people here, and we could create a support network here. That should be no issue. Good. Okay. With that, it's pretty late in Germany, actually. It's 10:30 p.m. I would say, for everyone who is still here, thank you for coming by. Let me know, maybe now or in the comment section of the video once it goes live. It's going to be like processed and it comes live on the channel as a replay. Let me know what you want me to test this week until the end of the Kickstarter. So if any last minute wishes that you wish me to do with this printer to test out, let me know. I will try to make it happen before the Kickstarter ends. If you have any daunting questions to the Bambu Lab team, they are really responsive. So actually, I didn't ask for that. The last stream that we had a few questions here in the community, and they responded to me. They watched the stream. They responded to me personally and said, "Hey, these and these questions came up in your stream. These are the answers." So, and helped me to address some issues. So let me know what you want to know. If you have more questions, put it in the comment section when the video goes live, because then I can't forget it. And then we'll see each other hopefully by the end of the week. Let me double check when the Kickstarter ends, actually. Let's do this. Just want to make sure that I'm not thinking about the wrong day. Kickstarter Bambu Lab. Let's see. How many days do we have left? 66 hours to go. Will be funded by June 30th, 4:59 p.m. CEST. Okay, that's Thursday. That's Thursday evening. Thursday evening. I'm not sure if I can make another stream before Thursday evening. And my next day that I plan to be here is Friday, because that's my day off, where I'm not working for my employer, and then I'm coming here to work on my channel. So the best way to get last-minute answers answered is probably you put them in the comment section, also or here in the chat, so I have something that I can come back to, and I'm gonna address them. Probably just gonna post a very quick update video before the Kickstarter ends, just to remind you of things that I got answered. Soft filament, we didn't test TPU. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think I can just hit start on a print for another flex print until tomorrow. Can probably post you some pictures or a quick video about that on my Instagram. And yeah, just let you know that I'm willing to test out anything. Probably also the high temperature filament we didn't test yet. They gave me some. I think they gave me some carbon fiber. So, or I think was it nylon? I'm not sure. You should try a 7-day print. Absolutely. I mean, the thing is, I'm thinking about the following. I have to create this. I'm coming back to this case actually, because this case is an 80-hour print. I was thinking, like, I printed all of this stuff on my Ender printer. So like not every piece takes, it's individual pieces, 6 pieces, altogether 80 hours of printing. I was thinking, because on the Ender 3, it's like I have to be conservative with the printing speeds. I can't go too fast to keep the quality as it is right now. But I'm thinking about printing a lot of these cases for the next couple of months actually on this printer. So maybe that's something to test, like how fast can I print this computer case, because I anyways have to do it on this printer, just to see like the long term, like, because these kind of surfaces and huge surfaces are kind of challenging, like, because you want a nice and smooth surface, you want a stable result, and I'm not printing this only one time, I'm printing it 85 times, so that is quite a lot. Also, what I want to test is, like, since I'm printing this computer case, I have to do color changing, or I have to change the filament. I think every second case is, or I can print one shell, and then I can print half a shell with one spool of filament. It's actually more than you think in terms of the usage. And so what I want to see is, can I use the AMS not only for multicolor printing, but can I use the AMS for having a spool of black filament and then having a second spool of black filament, and once the first one is out, automatically switching to the second one to continue printing. So I don't have to come and replace it, right? That would be a great test. Yes, it's 284 days of printing. I mean, I have 4 printers printing this, Currently, I'm not printing because I want to do the design changes first. But yeah, it's going to be, I think, until the end of the year. It's not like I have to print this in one continuous print, right? So I'm doing this like, doing some batches, like 10 pieces, and then there's a few weeks of delay. And then, because the computer case stuff, like the delivery times, all that, it's not going to be happening so fast. Can you change filaments while it's running? Good question. Good question. Yeah, so as I said, I wanna be able to start a print, have second spool in, or maybe 4 spools of black filament, and have it like, okay, printing something really large, and then I'm just like quickly swapping out, just taking it out when it's done, just hitting start again. Let's continue printing. I'm not gonna care. So I can probably run through 4 spools of filament and then replace the first 3 ones in the meanwhile. That would be awesome. So, but I think through software, everything can be done. That's absolutely possible. Yeah. Good. Best filament for smooth surface. I have no idea actually. I mean, the smoothest surface. I mean, I'm using Das Filament, PLA, black, matte. That's good. Creating nice surface. So I'm pretty happy with that so far. I've been using Filament for a while. Well, yeah, I was not unhappy, but I was thinking, okay, if I can get the same or even a better result at a lower price, slightly lower price. And one major reason why I went for the Das Filament is that I can use the master spool system because I went through I think I went to 30 spools of filament with this just with this project here, like 30 filament spools already done. And that was just so much stuff that I was like, okay, I'm not going to continue using these kind of spools, the default spools. I'm going to switch to the master spool system just to create less waste in terms of spools. They can be recycled by the company I mentioned in the beginning, but for me, it's just less storage room and it's just easier to to get a bigger package of filament. It takes like the packaging is also smaller. It's cheaper, right? So master spool filament is cheaper. All kinds of reasons, and it's for me it's good. Okay, guys, thank you for coming. I'm happy that you've been here. Let's check out a few of the statistics. We had a maximum peak concurrent of 60 people coming. Last time we had 100. I think the weather is just too good. And still 43 people watching the stream. Thanks for coming. I'll see you next time. Probably on Friday. I'm either gonna be streaming or I'm gonna make a video. I'm still undecided what I'm gonna do. Currently streaming is a little bit easier for me because of my workload. I have so many things that I hardly can cut any videos at the moment. So I'll see you next time, and we'll probably do some follow-up on this and maybe something. I have the Revo point scanner that I want to test, and with Rasmus I want to do another printer test, having him use another 3D printer. That was a lot of fun. I see you. Bye-bye. Have a nice week, a good start into the week, and all the best. Stay healthy. It's the most important.